Joel Thomas Zimmerman, better known as deadmau5, is a Canadian DJ and producer of electronic music who has left a huge mark in the industry. Nominated for the Grammy 6 times and with more than 20 years producing music. Joel was born on January 5, 1981. When he was very young, he became interested in technology and video games. Later in his teens, he was interested in MIDI keyboards and software programming, and of course, music production. In 2008, he made his first release as deadmau5, called Faxing Berlin, on his record label Mousetrap. It was transmitted on the radio show of the legendary DJ Pete Tong. deadmau5 soon became popular within the electronic scene, and in 2008 he released his album with which he jumped to fame, called Random Album Title, with the tracks like I Remember with Cascade, and Brazil the Continent. In that album, his sound was very progressive and futuristic. One year later, in 2009, he released his album For Lack of a Better Name. In this, he has undoubtedly had his biggest hits that are Strobe, and Ghost and Stuff, featuring Rob Swire. In this album, he improved his progressive house and incorporated orchestral elements in some of his songs. In 2010, he released his next album, 4x4 equals 12, with tracks like Some Chords and Raise Your Weapon, in which he was influenced by electro house and dubstep. In 2012, deadmau5 began to experiment with his music, and that experimentation he released his album called Album Title Goes Here. And this album contains mythical songs like The Belt and October. Later, in 2014, deadmau5 will launch one of his most experimental projects, taking influences from ambient and even has a remix of 9 Inch Nails. This album is wild. In this album there are tracks like Abaritia and Pets. In 2016, he released his album W Drive 2016 album, in which he created an 80s sci-fi atmosphere combined with his progressive style, with tracks like Let Go and Imaginary Friends. In early 2017, he released his most experimental album to date, Stuff I Used to Do, in which he compiles his most experimental songs that he has created from genres such as downtempo, IDM, and breakbeat. In this album there are songs like Hack Speak Meow and Try Again. This 2018, deadmau5 released one of his biggest projects in his career, called Where is the Drop? The album consists of different songs by him performed in orchestra, in collaboration with the composer Gregory Reveret. Also, deadmau5 released an EP called Mouseville Level 1, in which he has two songs, Monophobia, featuring Rapswire and Nyquist. In the album, there are remixes of Monophobia and songs by the duo GTA and the dubstep artist Getter. deadmau5 is undoubtedly one of the most important producers in the history of electronic music, and I would like a lot of more people to listen to their music.